Welcome everyone. Let's begin our lesson for today by going over the learning goals and success criteria. First, what are we learning? We're learning how to construct angle bisectors using a compass and straight edge. How are we learning it? Through the constructing angle bisectors notes and the constructing angle bisectors assignment. When can we use this information? To cut boards into smaller equal pieces in order to create or repair furniture? How do you know you learned it? By getting a 4 on the constructing angle bisectors assignment. Now let's take a look at our agenda for today. We will begin by going over our learning goals and success criteria. While we do that, you'll fill out your Get It Started. Once you've completed your Get It Started, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. After that, we'll go over the constructing angle bisectors notes, and then I'll give you time to complete the constructing angle bisectors assignment on Desmos. Once you've completed the assignment, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. At the end of class, we'll go back over our learning goals and success criteria while you fill out your Before You Go. Your only homework for tonight is to continue working on the construction study guide and any incomplete assignments that you may have. Let's take a look now at the constructing angle bisectors notes. The notes begin with the learning goals and success criteria. Now, what is an angle? An angle is a figure formed by two line segments or rays that meet at a common point. Angles are typically measured in degrees, which are measures of rotation from the x-axis. So an example of this would be here. We have ABC here. BC is a ray and BA is a ray, and they meet here at point B. And it forms this kind of V shape here, which is an angle. Symbolic notation for angles. The symbolic notation for angles is angle ABC. So it's this kind of V shape here that represents angle. Then we label it as the points involved. Now notice that the point of intersection, or where they meet, or as we call it, the vertex, always goes in the middle. So B would have to be the center of it. So an example of this would be ABC. That would be our notation for the angle. Again, B always has to be in the middle. It could also be CBA. That would work as well, as long as B is in the middle. Geometric notation for angles. Angles are shown by labeling the points on the rays and the point of intersection. So an arc is typically drawn in the middle to represent the angle measure. Congruency and similarity. Congruent angles are angles that are of the same size, shape, and angle measure. Congruent angles are written as angle ABC is congruent to angle DEF. Again, the congruent symbol is the squiggly over the equal sign. Now, similar angles have the same shape and angle measure but are of different size, so they have different lengths. And we would say that then that angle ABC is similar to angle DEF, and the symbol for similar is the double squiggly. So congruency versus similarity. Congruent figures have all the same sizes. So notice all of my triangles here, both of my triangles, have exactly the same angle measures and same side lengths. They look exactly the same. That is congruent. Now, similar means that it's blown up or shrunk down. So it's all the same size and shape. It's proportional, but it's not the same size. It blows up or shrinks down. So we can see that this triangle here is this one blown up. Geometric notation for congruent angles. Angles are typically drawn by labeling the points on the rays and the point of intersection. Congruent angles will have the arcs in the corner. So for instance, we have these two triangles here, and notice we have these arcs here in the corners. The single arc and the single arc mean that those two angles are congruent to each other. The double arc and double arc mean that those two angles are congruent to each other. And then the triple and triple mean that those are congruent. Now, what is an angle bisector? An angle bisector is a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. So it's basically going to take an angle and cut it in half. So bisecting an angle cuts it into two equal angles. The angles should have the exact same angle measure. For instance, we have our angle here in blue. If we were to cut it in half, it would look like this. And now this angle and this angle would be the same. Now, there's a video here for you to watch on how to construct a congruent angle using Desmos. So go ahead and watch that video now. Let's take a look now at how we can construct angle bisectors using Desmos. So we have our angle here. The first thing we need to do is create our menu. So we use our little pop-out menu. And what we need to do first is we're going to use a circle tool and extend it out, just like that. And the only rule is it's got to pass through both points. Okay, that's the only rule we have. So now we're going to go ahead and put a point where it intersects the two segments. Next step is we're going to take our circle tool and we're going to draw a circle around this one, just like that. So now we have our circle here, and if we copy this same circle here, wherever they intersect should be the bisector. So in order to do that, I need to create a radius. So I'm going to use the segment tool and connect this point with this point here. So that gives me a radius. Then I can copy that radius onto this one here. So I'm going to go More Tools, Compass, and I'm going to click on that segment I just created. So now it gives me a circle, and notice the circle is the same size as this one. I'm going to bring it down and place it right here, just like that. And now I can put a point where they intersect right there. And I can use the ray tool to connect the vertex to that point of intersection right here, just like that. And now I've perfectly cut this angle in half. Now there's a video here for you to watch as well on how to bisect an angle using paper and a compass. So go ahead and watch that video as well.
To bisect an angle, first have an angle. Next, have a compass. In this case, nice safety compass. Go ahead and put that brass ring right on the vertex of your angle. Step 2, go ahead and create an arc that goes all the way through our angle. I'm just going to come out here and pick a nice mark. There we go. Doesn't matter how big or how small that arc is, make sure it goes through, because now the 2 points that we're concerned about is where that arc hits my angle. Those 2 points, super important. Those are going to be the 2 points that we use to find a bisector that's going to chop right through the middle here. Okay, so let's line up the little brass ring on our compass with one of those endpoints, and then create an arc out here in the middle. Make sure that it is big enough that it's actually going to be in the middle. Remember, a bisector chops it in half, which means if you're not somewhere here in the middle where that line's going to be, you're not doing yourself any good. So I'm going to create a nice arc here, obviously out here in the middle. Remember which hole you use there, because now you have to come over here and do the same thing. Just like we did over here, line up the brass ring with where our first arc hit the angle. Remember which hole you used, right there. Now, if you connect the vertex and that point where your 2 arcs crossed, that is going to perfectly bisect this angle. Let's see if it worked out. Whoops. Alright, there we go. Don't worry about the little squiggle. Alright, now this top angle and bottom angle are perfectly congruent. Same size, which means we can use these cool little congruent marks. And that's how you bisect an angle.
Let's talk now about how to sign in to Desmos to complete your work. So what we're going to do is you're going to click on the link to go to the assignment, and it should take you to a page that looks kind of like this. And right here where it says sign in with Google, we're going to click there. And it's going to pop up with our email accounts. You're going to click on your school email account, and it should already have you logged in because you should have already been logged in using Google Classroom. From there, I'm just going to click Start the Activity, and it will take me into the assignment and allow me to begin. So that's how you will log into Desmos using Google. Let's take a look now at the Constructing Angle Bisectors assignment. The assignment begins with the learning goals and success criteria. If we scroll down, there's a link here to take us to the Desmos activity. Go ahead and click on that link, and it should take you to a page that looks like this. We'll go ahead and click Start the Activity. The activity begins with the learning goals and success criteria. Go ahead and click Next. Let's take a look now at how we can construct angle bisectors using Desmos. So we have our angle here. The first thing we need to do is create our menu. So we use our little pop-out menu. And what we need to do first is we're going to use a circle tool and extend it out, just like that. And the only rule is it's got to pass through both points. Okay, that's the only rule we have. So now we're going to go ahead and put a point where it intersects the two segments. Next step is we're going to take our circle tool and we're going to draw a circle around this one, just like that. So now we have our circle here, and if we copy this same circle here, wherever they intersect should be the bisector. So in order to do that, I need to create a radius. So I'm going to use the segment tool and connect this point with this point here. So that gives me a radius. Then I can copy that radius onto this one here. So I'm going to go More Tools, Compass, and I'm going to click on that segment I just created. So now it gives me a circle. And notice the circle is the same size as this one. I'm going to bring it down and place it right here, just like that. And now I can put a point where they intersect right there. And I can use the ray tool to connect the vertex to that point of intersection right here, just like that. And now I've perfectly cut this angle in half. Now this one says using a compass and straight edge, construct the angle bisector for the angle below. We'll go ahead and pop out our menu. And then we're going to use our circle tool and go about the vertex. Again, any size you want, just like that. And we'll put points where it intersects. And then we're going to use another circle tool about the point of intersection. And we can go as big or as small as we want as long as it passes through about halfway. So just like this. We use a segment tool to get the radius. So the radius is from here to here. And then we're going to copy that to here as well. So we're going to go More Tools, Compass. We want this as our radius. And we'll go ahead and bring it down to here. And now we can see that we have our circles that intersect right there. So now we use our ray tool to connect the vertex through the points where the circles intersect, which is there. And notice now we have a perfect angle bisector. And we'll click Next. We'll do that for slide 4 as well. Now on slide 5, you're going to create your own angle and then bisect it. So you'll go ahead and do that. And then you'll do that for 5, 6, and 7. Once you're done with slide 7, you'll go ahead and go back to your Google form and click Next. This will take you to your Before You Go. Go ahead and fill out your Before You Go and then submit your work on Google Classroom.